So this is my pedalboard rig. It's got tons of sounds, MIDI control, the whole shebang. But here's the thing. As great as this board sounds, it's large, expensive, and in some ways kind of impractical. And lately, I found myself really into downsizing my rig. I like small, practical, and yeah, if it sounds good, inexpensive can be a huge plus. Which is why I'm determined to find huge tone in a small, affordable package. That's where Sonicake comes in. They were nice enough to send me a few of their mini pedals to try out, and I was honestly pretty blown away by some of these tones. So whether you're new to the pedal world or you've been collecting pedals for years, here's a few you should check out. First up is the Blue Skreamer. It's a 100% all analog blues overdrive pedal. The Sonicake website says it's supposed to give you those legendary tube screamer tones and even dumble sounds, so we'll see if that's true. This pedal really shocked me. For $35.99, I figured I was getting some sort of decent run-of-the-mill overdrive sound, but no. This pedal sounds incredible, and I think it sounds just as good as any of my expensive overdrive pedals. It's highly touch sensitive, and it really nails that tube breakup sound. It doesn't sound like I'm running some sort of pedal into an amp, it sounds like an amp. Hopefully that made sense. Now let's flip it to loud mode and see what that's all about. Loud mode feels kind of like the same thing, just a bit louder and fatter. With the gain turned all the way up, it really nails that tube amp exploding or really struggling to make it happen sound. Now, I've never played on a dumble, so I can't tell you whether or not it nails the dumble sound, but it definitely has that Fender tube breakup sound, even when it's totally maxed out. It's pretty impressive. This pedal has a ton of range, especially for the price point. $35.99, this is a 5-fin pedal. Next up is the Shark, a 100% analog British style distortion pedal. It's supposed to give you those Marshall-esque tones. The Shark features 3 tone shaping modes. It's got a normal setting, it's got a classic setting, and it's got a modern setting. So why don't we start with some classic rock and roll tones. First off, I've never owned a distortion pedal, so I've always had to stack a bunch of overdrive to get this level of saturation, and I gotta say, this is fun. The classic setting definitely gives you that old retro Marshall sound. It's got a lot of gain and grit, and it doesn't get too shrill in the high end, which I definitely appreciate. So why don't we flip it to normal and see what that is. These sounds take me back to early 2000s rock, which is the stuff that made me want to play guitar in the first place. It's maybe just a touch clearer and gainier than the classic mode. Let's go ahead and flip it to modern and unleash this thing. This is so heavy, especially compared to my normal tone. The drive is really rich and thick. It nails that modern rock tone, and you could probably get into the metal territory with this. I also love how it transforms my Vox style amp into a full-on Marshall stack. At $35.99, the Shark is a really high value pedal, especially if you're looking for those high gain Marshall distortion tones. I really love it. I give it 5 fins. It's one thing to put a drive in a mini pedal. It's another to put 11 different modulation effects into one, and yet Sonicake somehow managed to do it. There's so much to hear with this one, so why don't we start with Big Sky, which is modeled after a legendary solid-state jazz amp. The stereo chorus is a classic and lush chorus sound modulated by a triangle wave. Liquid trem is a bias-based tremolo, whatever that means, based off vintage tube amp circuits. The opto trem is a classic optical tremolo. The Rotoscope 60 is a vintage 4-stage phasing and rotary vibe effect. The Blue Vibe is a natural and warm vibrato sound. The Cryon-Bot is a dynamic auto-wah filter. They put an auto-wah on this thing? The next one is the lo-fi setting, and I was really excited because I thought it would make my guitar sound kind of grainy and maybe like a vinyl record. No, it's actually more of like a bit crusher. It's a downsampling effect. Jet Flane, which I'm pretty sure is a pun, you know, plane, because it sounds like an airplane, but it's a flanger. Flane is a classic sounding flanger. The Jet Flane BR is a massive jet-like flanger tone with tons of feedback. Phase 101 is a crystal clear and bright phasing tone. I can't believe how many different tones came from this tiny little pedal, and while some of them are definitely more usable than others, on a whole, I was really impressed with how rich the tones were. I also didn't realize this pedal came with a built-in tap tempo feature. All you have to do is hold this down, the LED just starts blinking, and you can tap in with the tempo of the song to sync your effects. If you're looking to add a bunch of different modulation options without breaking the bank or taking up too much real estate on your pedal board, then the Fifth Dimension is actually a pretty awesome option. For $55.99, this pedal is an amazing value. It gets 4.5 fins from me. Next up is the Vexpress volume and expression pedal. The Vexpress is cool for a few different reasons. The size of the pedal is really great. It's not gonna take up a ton of room on your pedal board. It works as a passive volume pedal and an expression pedal. You don't need to plug it in to get it to work. If you're using it for volume, you simply plug your guitar signal into the input, and then you continue to the rest of your signal through the output. Heel down is off, heel up is on. You can slide it, get it anywhere in between. And if you're using it as an expression pedal, you just need to get a stereo TRS cable. You plug it into the output only, and then into the expression output of whatever you're trying to Vexpress. Get it? That's how I've been using it with my Quad Cortex, and it works great. It's also small enough to fit in my Quad Cortex case, which is a nice bonus. Third, it's $39.99. That's a great deal for a volume expression pedal. The Sonic Ambience is a delay and reverb pedal in this tiny little platform, and it allows you to control each effect individually. This pedal features 4 different delay types and 4 different reverb types, and while honestly the difference between the delay types seems pretty subtle to my ear, the difference between the reverb types is more apparent. It would appear as you turn to the right, the reverbs get longer and longer with their decay time. So let's check out the Sonic Ambience in a more ambient setting. It's not too shabby for what it is, and I think there's something to be said for simplicity, especially if having tons of options is gonna overwhelm you. Here you basically just have what reverb type do you want, what delay type do you want, how fast do you want the delay to echo, how many times do you want it to echo, and then volume control on the reverb and the delay separately. And like the 5th dimension pedal, it has a built-in tap tempo, and that's huge, especially if you're a serious delay user like myself. While this pedal is named the Sonic Ambience, I actually thought it excelled at a less ambient type setting. For $49.99, the Sonic Ambience is a pretty good value, especially if you're looking to just get up and running with some basic delay and reverb types. Obviously, with the mono setup and more basic controls, you're gonna have a harder time getting those really lush and expansive soundscapes. But if you're looking for a solid basic reverb and delay tone, then the Sonic Ambience is a really good option. I'd give it 3.5 fins for tone and 4 fins for value. Overall, I'm pretty impressed with these mini pedals, and I especially like the drive pedals. I could replace any of the drives on my current pedal board with the Blue Skreamer or the Shark, and I feel confident that I could get any sounds I need. Seriously, I couldn't stop thinking about this Blue Skreamer tone, especially in the warm and light overdrive setting. Like, it was kind of magical, and I'm pretty stoked to have this in my palette of sounds. If you want to check out any of these pedals for yourself, there's a link to them in the description down below. And you can use my code Justin10 to get an additional 10% off your order. Be sure to leave a like on the video before you head out, subscribe to the channel if you're new, and I'll catch you next time.
These are my new favorite pedals. They're so fun. I have looked, sniffed, and pressed each pedal. These pedals are amazing. Hi, my name is Bailey, and I approve this message.